What is up, guys? I'm pumped to be here and excited to do this training for you guys. I'm Adam Nelson. I have been in the door-to-door industry with y'all for 16 years now and going strong. And I love that we're doing these types of trainings. I love that we're getting together and talking about taking our earned income and our skill set and we're turning it into passive income. My man Brody asked me to talk about cabins that cash flow. I've had some experience with Airbnbs and VRBOs, the short-term rental industry or market, and I've had a lot of success with it. And so I'm happy to share with you some of my experiences and hopefully help you guys if you're interested in this side of investing. But first of all, who is this guy? Who's Adam Nelson, right? I think Brody asked me to talk about this because I have a TikTok with 180,000 followers. And I talk a lot about this exact subject. I talk about turning your earned income into passive income, and just things to do with real estate that you can avoid paying taxes with and pay less taxes, keep more of what you earn. And so we need to have these conversations, and I'm having these conversations on TikTok. Go ahead and give me a follow at Top 1%er on TikTok or on Instagram at Top 1%er _. And hopefully, I can continue to stay in touch with you guys and teach you the things that I've learned over the years of doing sales and implementing that into real estate. But I'm pumped to talk to you about my real estate investment journey and how I got to doing short-term rentals and the amount of success that I've had with short-term rentals. And so I'll tell you a little bit of history and background with myself. When I first went out and started making money with door-to-door sales and started increasing my income, I knew I needed to do something with this money. So I was around people that were buying homes and single-family homes, and I knew that I needed to put this money somewhere, so I decided to house hack my first property. I was a college kid, put 5% down. This is way back in the day, and I was able to have my roommates pay for my mortgage and for my rent all the way through college, which was amazing. And then I did that with my wife. We got a primary residence loan, and then later kept it as a rental property. And so we house hacked our first few properties. After that, we tried some of the BRRRR method, and the BRRRR method actually works, where you can go buy a single family home, especially in the Midwest, and you can buy it, renovate it, get a tenant in there, rent it out, and then you can go get it appraised again and refinance out that money. And so we've done the BRRRR strategy. I've bought the homes for $35,000 and put 15 grand in them, and they appraised for 85 grand, 90 grand, and I got all my investment back out of it, and I still have 20% equity in those homes, and they cash flow now. So I love this type of real estate as well. After doing the BRRRR strategy, I decided to try some multifamily, and I bought a 4-unit, I bought a 5-unit, and these are properties that I felt like I could increase the rents, I could do value add on them, and we're currently in that process right now of doing value add with my 4-unit and 5-unit and raising the rents on those properties. So pumped about that. After I was doing all this, I've always had my eyes on short-term rentals, and I've liked the idea of short-term rentals. And so we started dabbling with this and looking into it, and I was reading books about it, just really trying to learn as much about short-term rentals as I could to inform myself on this type of an investment. And I really started getting excited about getting my first short-term rental. So this is the first cabin that we got, and this cabin just this year has netted us $70,000 in the bank account after all of our expenses. And so, yes, we're pumped to share information about this type of investment and that these type of opportunities are out there. But a lot of you guys that are on this call, watching these trainings, some of you guys have reached out to me and asked me questions about Airbnbs, and that you've expressed interest that you want to get into Airbnb or a VRBO. You want to do short-term rentals. You just had some general questions. These are the general questions that I get all the time. Why short-term rentals? The pros and cons of short-term rentals, the right location, the right cabin, how to do research, and the property manager or self-manage these cabins? Those are kind of the questions for everybody. And I want to answer those questions for you. As we're going through these slides, I want you guys to pay attention to the pictures on my cabin just so you can see the images, the furniture, the flow, the feel of it, and seeing why this is probably such a successful Airbnb. And I'm going to teach you some of these things. But why short-term rentals? So when you're looking into real estate and you're looking into different types of investments, usually you're looking at real estate in different markets that have different benefits. And you're looking at appreciation. You know, this is a great market for appreciation. I'm going to buy this one. I'm going to sit on it for 5-10 years, and that's where I'm going to make all my money. These are growing markets and where the value just doubles every 10 years. You got your principal pay down. That's all of the properties. You got your cash flow. Some markets are better cash flow markets than others. The Midwest is incredible for cash flow on single family and multifamily. And then you got your tax savings and your tax strategies through cost segregation. Some bigger properties, apartment complexes have way better benefits for tax savings. When you look at short-term rentals and these Airbnbs, I see that you're kind of capturing lightning in a bottle. You're kind of getting the best of all of these and getting all four of them, which is really hard to do. And so you do get appreciation in these markets because they're growing markets. You're getting the principal pay down. You have cash flow. I'm always shooting for 20% cash on cash return. And then you get the cost segregation. And when you're buying $1.2 million cabins or you're buying bigger properties, $600,000 properties, you're getting a better cost segregation, tax savings. And so, you know, these are four big reasons why I like short-term rentals. But then you also gotta say that you like the lifestyle investment. You know, when I have to go visit my properties in Indianapolis or wherever, I'm not excited to go visit those locations and to go see those properties when I have to go see my short-term rentals, my Airbnbs. I'm excited to take a couple days off and take the family to go replace a lock or to go replace a piece of furniture, whatever it is. I'm excited about that. These are a couple reasons why I love short-term rentals. Now, let's talk about this subject right here. How are short-term rentals right now? I think there's news stories and some stories or rumors about this that too many people got into short-term rentals during COVID. So here's from AirDNA. Here's their market research. This is important to understand. So available listings on Airbnb and VRBO reached 1.34 million listings. That's up 24% year over year. That's a lot, right? Demand is also up 17%. So demand's almost kept up with the listings. So more and more people are staying in short-term rentals. Occupancy is down, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, but I feel like the level field is evening out where you got to really be competitive and know what you're doing to get high occupancy over your neighbors or over the other listings in your area. But occupancy is down from 8.6% year over year. Average daily rates are up to 4.6%. Revenue is higher, 23% year over year. So, and nights book is up 2.8%. So what I feel like is going on right now is more people got into short-term rentals, and I feel like it's the investors that are getting involved now. It's not just, hey, I have my mom and pop cabin. I'm going to do some pictures from my iPhone. And I'm going to throw it on Airbnb and it's going to rent. I don't feel like those kind of properties are doing good anymore. I feel like if you want to be in short-term rental game, it's got to be next level. You got to be committed to this thing and be a professional with photography and listings and knowing what you're doing to be able to compete in today's market. And I'm going to talk about this and how you can all do this as well. So here's another picture of our cabin with our bunk bedroom that we created. These are fun things just for your guests, what they're looking for. But here's the pros and cons of short-term rentals, okay? The pros are pretty simple. I love that you get a buy where you can vacation to. So again, like I said, I'm not going to take my family to Indy to go look at my single families, but If something needs to happen at my cabin in Oklahoma, I'm going to go up to Oklahoma and I'm going to take my family up there with me. We're going to benefit that. That's a fun investment. That's a lifestyle asset that you get to actually invest in, and your family can be excited about it. I like that we deal with large deposit guests. We're dealing with guests that are putting down $700 deposits or $500 deposits on a smaller place, and they're going to take care of the property because they want to keep their deposit. So they're taking care of the carpet, they're taking care of the furniture. You shouldn't have any surprises. We've had like one or two all year on this property. And the third thing is, I love that we get to control and influence the business. We took this existing cabin that was a rental on Airbnb before we bought it, and we saw the numbers. We saw the furniture, we saw the photography, and I thought we can improve this listing. We can get better rents, we can get better occupancy if we change the pictures, change the furniture, change some of the stuff about this cabin. I feel like we can outdo their performance. And I love that side of this business. The cons are, number one, that this is not your typical mailbox money real estate investment. You don't just invest and forget about it. This is something you gotta work on, and this is a business you gotta be involved with. Number two, you're dealing with guests weekly and nightly. Some people don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with a guest texting you, asking you if it has a crock pot on the property, or asking you where the propane tank is to turn on the grill, or whatever it is. These are two calls that I just got this week. The oven wouldn't heat up over 100 degrees, and it was just user error. These are some little texts or calls that you might have to deal with. Number three, it takes a business owner mindset. You have to be able to look at the pro forma and, hey, can we do better? Where can we improve this? Where can we do better with marketing? How can we do better with our pricing to fill some of these gaps when our occupancy rates were low? You got to have a little bit of a business mindset going into these types of properties. Now, a question that I get all the time is, how do I know what the right location I should buy in? And how do I know if I'm buying the right cabin? Is this cabin going to perform? So let's just start with the right cabin. As you see in the pictures here, you have a shuffleboard, pool table, you have the hot tub. These are all amenities that I feel like make this the right cabin. But whenever somebody comes to me with a cabin or a location, the first thing I'm going to ask is, number one, how many people does it sleep? I feel like this is one of the biggest factors to understand how the cabin is going to perform and what kind of revenues it can bring in, is how many people can it sleep. If you have two people that buy $1 million cabin, one sleeps 10, one sleeps 18. The one that sleeps 18 is going to perform a lot better because multiple families can split the cost on that cabin and share it and use it. And so how many does it sleep? The furniture, the theme, does it have professional photos done? Does it have amenities? Those kind of things are super critical and important. What makes it stand out from the other cabins that are all listed in the area? And that comes with photos and amenities and furniture. What amenities does it have for guests? Number four, is it an easy cabin to get to, or is it in the middle of nowhere? People don't want to be middle of nowhere sometimes. Will it get 5-star reviews from every guest? These are all so important on, is this the right cabin? Is it the right location? I think the first question is, hey, is this a location that you're okay visiting once in a while and going and staying in this cabin for a whole week once you buy it and get it up and running? Is this a cabin where you're okay going there twice a year to go visit this location? What does it cost to purchase in this market is a really important question. If you live in Utah and you're like, man, I want to go visit St. George, your market might be inflated right now. It might be way too expensive up there to get the right return on investment, the right cash on cash return on that investment. And so it might not be the right location right now based on its occupancy rates and daily rates. So what's the cost to purchase in this market? What's the occupancy rate? And what is the average daily rate? I think these are all things you got to factor if this is the right location. Is it seasonal? I think that's super important to understand. Is this thing only going to cash flow 4 months of the year and I'm going to try to make all my income in those 4 months? Or is this a property that rents out 12 months of the year with some slow seasons, some high seasons, but spring break, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all these, the summer months, the winter months, these are all prime locations that are bringing travelers, right? That's what you want. Then you got to just kind of look into the numbers. What's the expected gross revenue minus out what are all my monthly costs? And I have my own spreadsheet formula that I found online that I play around with, and I plug in all these numbers to see if it's the right investment for me. But I love going to airdna.co or doing AirDNA top list, just Googling AirDNA top markets or AirDNA market reviews and looking at the list of 100 locations that they recommend, and then just start narrowing it down from there. Okay, so now we have it narrowed down where you want to be. And I did Nashville as an example on here. You find out, hey, I want to be in Nashville. Let's look on airdna.co. You have to pay for this market, right, through AirDNA. And this is one of the best tools I found, so it's worth it. I actually reached out to AirDNA and I got you guys a promo code because I'm sure a lot of you are going to be doing this. But Adam15 will save you 15% when you sign up for your market. Might as well save 15%. To go by Nashville, you're probably going to spend $100 and you're going to get all the data for Nashville from Airbnb and VRBO. That promo code will save you 15%. But pulling up Nashville right here, it's an A- market. It's better than my market in Oklahoma. Average daily rate's $313. Occupancy rate's 65%. Revenue is $4,900. These are averages throughout the whole year. And so I can do a deep dive on this now and say, okay, I want a 3-bedroom that can sleep 10 people, and it'll show me what the numbers are on those cabins. So I can take my cost to own it and utilities and expenses, minus out my potential earnings, and compare those two so I can see what my total cash on cash flow return will be on this property. And so I have to do a deep dive research on these properties, on this market, and then I go find the property that fits into that formula. Next up will be the property manager question that I get all the time. Like, I love the idea of short-term rentals, but I don't think I have enough time to do this. So there are what is called a property manager for short-term rentals. And, so everybody always asks me, who manages your properties? You can go the route of a property manager. Most people will pay 30 to 35% for a property manager. And here's a line item by line item what they do. But they will set up your hosting website. They will tie it into Airbnb and VRBO. They will set up all your utilities for you, so you don't have to look up who the electric company is, or the gas company or the trash service company. They will handle all your service calls, your cleaners. They'll do your marketing. They'll do your price labs and fluctuate your prices based on low season and high season, spring break seasons, those kind of things. They have relationships in the areas with cleaners and service people that know how to fix a hot tub or fix an oven if something like that's not working in your area. And then they handle all the guest relation stuff. Small texts like, hey, does it have a crock pot? Or how do I get to your cabin, or what's the location, whatever. These are little guest relation text messages that sometimes you or I don't want to deal with at 10 o'clock at night from a guest. So this is why you pay a property manager 30 to 35%. That's a big chunk of your return on investment. So you got to decide if you have the time to do these types of things. We went a hybrid route where we went with a co-manager, and you can find co-managers in your area for about 10 to 15%. And what a co-manager is going to do is they're going to set up the hosting website, and they're going to do all of that stuff for you. Link it with Airbnb and VRBO, and it's in your own name. It's not in their name because they're not a property manager. They're just doing this stuff for you. They're going to set all of your pricing on Price Labs. They're going to watch it on a weekly basis and make sure they got spring break pricing in there and Christmas pricing, and fluctuate them and then lower them on your slow weeks. They're going to lower your pricing. And then they do some marketing for you. They have some benefit to do some marketing for you, paid ads and that kind of stuff. But then they handle the guest relations. This is the biggest one for me, is that they deal with those 10 o'clock text messages that I don't want to deal with. And I feel like this is worth 10%. This is what we went with, is a co-manager option on this cabin. And I think on my next cabin, the A-frame, we're debating if we're going to self-manage it or not, but we'll probably end up using a co-manager on that cabin as well. All right, let's use a real example here now. By the numbers, this is the cabin that netted us $70,000 this year. And here's exactly how we came upon this cabin and how we had the success that we had. But Braun threw us in. He's doing one of the trainings here as well. He and I have invested in a lot of real estate together. We always invest in the same areas, the same times, a lot, but we've never partnered up together. We both knew that we wanted to get into Airbnbs and have our first Airbnb, and so we started looking, and instead of me buying a $600,000 property, him buying a $600,000 property, we liked the numbers better doing a big cabin together, one that slept 20, a big cabin. And so we decided to do this cabin in Oklahoma, $1.25 million that we went in together on. The market is a B plus market on AirDNA, so we like that. Its estimated gross revenue was $165,000, and annual expenses we estimated would be just under $100,000. So we estimated that our cash on cash return would be right at 20%. In reality, when we got this thing with better pictures, better marketing, changed the furniture out, made some improvements to what the cabin previously has done, we ended up getting a 25% cash on cash return on our investment and $170,000 gross. And I think we can do better than that this year. We just finished with a $24,000 month in December. Already our January and February are filling up, our slow months. And so this thing's really got momentum behind it now. And that's what I love most about short-term rentals, is that you kind of get to control those things and build momentum up. This is what I'm going to finish with. This quote right here: buy the numbers, not the cabin. So many people, when they're ready to jump into real estate, especially short-term rentals, they buy emotionally. You have to understand your numbers and what type of return on investment you want to get. For us, it's 20% cash on cash. And you come to this cabin, and it's the perfect cabin in the perfect location, but you find out it only sleeps 10 people instead of 16 people. And you have these little things that you emotionally are justifying it. You can't justify these things emotionally. You got to buy the numbers, not the cabin. And so that's my only advice I would give you, is the numbers have to make sense before you pull the trigger on these cabins. Number 2, plan for worst case scenarios. Obviously we want best case scenarios. I want to be in the 75th percentile of all the cabins listed in this area, outperforming everybody, but I'm going to plan for the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, hey, we got to rent this thing out this many times to break even, and I think we're going to be at the 50th percentile, which works with our numbers. And so I know if we're average, our numbers still work. If we're above average, it's a cherry on top. So plan for the worst case scenarios, especially right now with higher interest rates, and the prices are a little bit higher right now. Number 3, don't be afraid to buy out of state. I think it's really tempting to just buy the area that's close to you, but the area that's close to you might not be the best return on investment. So, the prices might be too high for you to invest in there, and the occupancy rate might be too low, or it might be too seasonal. So don't be afraid to buy out of state and explore somewhere else that you can travel to and go to and make it work. And then number 4, this is what I'm going to end on, is do your homework if you want to get into short-term rentals, and then get into the game. Just like our industry in sales, we're your professional problem solvers. Nobody has all the answers when they're going into this stuff. You'll figure it out on the way. So read your books on short-term rentals and Airbnbs and VRBOs, and listen to audiobooks. Sign up for paid courses. I did a paid course from somebody that had like 10 Airbnbs successfully, and I just wanted to hear the nuts and bolts of everything and how it worked and his decision making and processing and numbers, and I just wanted to hear it from him. So I paid $1,000 for a course to kind of learn that kind of stuff, and it helped a ton. And then start researching and calling on active properties right now. So if they're for sale in these markets, call them and say, hey, I'm interested. Can you send me the rental numbers on this market or on this cabin? I want to see what the performances on these properties are. And the realtor can get you the numbers and show what the rents are for those existing cabins that are listed on Airbnb right now. And you'll start learning your markets, and you'll start learning the patterns of, hey, if it sleeps 20 people, it should bring in this much. If it sleeps 10 people, it should bring in this much. And you can learn those numbers and then be very confident buyers going into your first Airbnb. I'm excited for you guys. I'm glad we're having these conversations. I'm glad you're on this training right now and learning about short-term rentals and other forms of real estate. Take this stuff serious. Learn from these different mentors and take your earned income that we're earning in our industry, and let's do something great with it and create passive income. I'm excited for you guys. Thanks for being on. Follow me on TikTok or Instagram, and let's connect.